we so pleased to come your way again with another exciting episode. But would ask that you help us make it exciting. So before we get going, let's go to our usual ritual. Go ahead and share the feed across. So we'll have maximum participation. It's awesome to come your way this nice Saturday morning. Okay. Great. Yep. So please let us know when you join the feed, when you uh, get with us so that we can get you involved in the discussion. And don't forget to shoot a hello, a hi when you are around. Okay, so as promised, this week we're gonna start a series on um, a bit more of life and living it, right? So you would agree with me that when it comes to relationships, we have things that we sort of put in a box, right? But if you're in a relationship with someone or you married to someone, um, that is the life you are living, right? It's not like the relationship is different from life or your marriage is different from life. It's actually part of life, right? So there are a lot of decisions that you take which are not necessarily relationship specific decisions, but they end up affecting your relationship. I mean, you cannot sort of isolate them. And so today's topic would not necessarily look like a relationship based topic, right? But it is a life based topic, right? So that's what we're going to do. Remember to share the feed and shoot a hello, shoot a hi when you are around us. Okay, so we said we were going to talk about life in the diaspora. So um, immigration has, and when I talk about immigration, I'm not talking about everything that is happening um, currently in the US, but I mean, people have been in the business of moving from one place to the other, I mean, since time immemorial. So um, people have always gone in search of greener pastures. They've gone in search of maybe a better living condition, not necessarily even financial or economical, but or in terms of economics, I mean, but people just want a better life for themselves, right? So um, I am sure that we all grew up knowing someone who had left the country and was living life elsewhere. But just as everything in life, there is the right way to go about it. There might not be one way to go about it, but there is the right way to go about it. And I'm not even talking about how you get here, right? Like, yeah, you have to do it legally, otherwise, like Trump will send you back. Okay, but there is always the right way to go about it. And today we want to talk about generally um, how you would want to approach living in a place that is not necessarily your country. And it's an exciting topic to discuss because I know most times people don't have the kind of guidance they'll need in that regard. So let me cut to the chase, stop all the talking, and then let's get started. So um, uh, generally, when people decide to travel out, right? Um, what do you think is the mindset? So, um, is it more of let me go get money, come back to my country, and live a better life, or what
I
do you
think
think?
the
Right?
first mindset is like, I think generally, aside people wanting to maybe upgrade for school and all that,
Okay.
like things are hard. I
Okay.
think my colleague out there is doing better because people see others go and they come and they look better. So,
Okay.
okay, then maybe traveling to this place would be a better option. Looks like I can make it better when I leave this country because things
Mhm.
are hard here.
Okay.
And people have their degrees and all that and probably are not getting jobs,
Okay.
and so they see people even without degree who have traveled and they've come back
Oh,
with
yeah.
like driving big
Something better.
cars.
Yeah.
They've been able to build and all
Right.
that. So they're like, okay, then what am I doing here? Let me also make that step effort to travel and also go and make something out of meaningful out of my life. Yeah, so I think sometimes those are the things that draws you out there. Um, there are those who are also just interested in going to pursue education and come back.
Yeah.
Um, and so there are so many reasons why people travel. But for people who want to immigrate, I think it's because for somebody who just wants to school and come back, maybe the person doesn't have the intention of immigrating, it's just to upgrade and then come back. Yeah, so for the people immigrating, they are looking for maybe a better life or a greener pasture somewhere.
Is
Yeah,
that word migrating or immigrating?
my
I'm confused.
and it's like immigrants and non-immigrants.
Immigrants migrate.
My
Oh
guess
my.
is one is is a noun and
Oh
the
God.
other is an adjective.
This interesting. Hey, Nee, thanks for joining us. Okay, anyway, so whether it's immigrating or
Migrate.
migrating,
Yeah.
we'll be using a team, like
Yeah.
something team, right? Okay. Now, do you think that because the original mindset is let me go get something to come make my life better, do you think that it affects how people live when they travel? So, what I'm pointing to is that it looks like because the end goal is let me go and come do something better for myself in my country, people end up not living in quotes
Mm,
when they travel. It's more like that's the end goal. The end goal is getting back home and sorting stuff out, and they end up or living weird lives.
mm, yeah. So, like I said, somebody saw somebody build and driving the best car, so the person also decided to take the step to immigrate.
Okay,
So, I also want to
do
similarly
same.
look like,
Okay,
yeah, when
okay,
I went,
okay,
I also did so well.
okay.
The guys have something they call you yakagbomo. If you you don't
If you come back
you
and you are
you
not
can't show anything, but
okay,
I think that's for me,
mhm,
I think that sometimes it's people do things to their disadvantage. Um, if you get to a place, right, and you want to do well, you should make sure that you sort yourself out first. If it has to do with documentation, you make sure you make sure you have all those right documentation. And that's a lot of money. It takes a lot of money to do that. If you have to upgrade and then get a good job, you have to school, and that's also a lot of money. But unfortunately, because people want to show that they are doing well, sometimes they neglect those things, and then the least money they make, they just send them home. And maybe I'm going to buy a house, I'll buy a car, a house that you hardly live in. So they start building and all that, and then they neglect those things. So it's like they are here and they struggle because things that would make them live well here, they don't invest in those. So they struggle here. Some people cannot even afford cars here. They just like they always using the train, whatever. But they have cars in their back in the country. They are renting
it
maybe very small. you see, when you go to New York, especially those small, they are very small, like a cubicle. That's where they live. But they've gone to build a mansion at home that they have to maintain, right? And then when you meet them, they tell you, "Hey, I have a house in Ghana." Meanwhile, you are living like a pauper here. They don't even take care of their health.
Okay.
So people live here for years, and because they don't take care of themselves, they neglect their well-being and all that. They go home, they have mansions, but by the time they get home, they are like so weak.
Okay.
They don't even have much time to live.
Okay.
And so those houses that they probably built back at home, they may not even be able to live so long to enjoy.
Okay, so in effect, what you're saying is that again, the why for the reason for which people have traveled out sometimes ends up um, making them neglect living life
Yes,
or
yes. Sometimes
tend to the
they don't take
places.
care of themselves.
Okay,
Yeah.
and again, like you mentioned, you would have people who would just squeeze themselves, I mean, to the nonsense degree just to make money and go show off home.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's entirely wrong for people to but as the song goes, this world is not my home. So when they come to a different country, shouldn't they? Is it not okay for them to have that mindset that, hey, this place is not my home. I have a home to return to.
Yeah.
Do you think it's
Even
entirely wrong
for
to?
me, if you have a home to return to,
Mm-hmm.
there are investments you can do here. Like maybe I want to build or buy a house in
Okay.
my home,
Yeah.
right? My hometown.
Yeah.
And I feel like eventually I don't want to, because everybody with the mindset, most people are like, they don't like to stay here because they've seen that in their old age, they'll send people to maybe, how do you call it?
The home for the adults, like
Adult homes.
yeah.
But they have not thought that most people who go to the adult homes are people who are not independent. Like they cannot be by themselves. And these people are
Okay.
like people who are maybe well beyond their 90s and all that.
Okay.
Like Ghana, except you go to most villages, our life expectancy doesn't even go all like beyond that.
Okay.
The white here have a higher life expectancy. You see somebody 90 something walking around like normal.
Okay.
Yes. So they will be comparing that to, oh, when I go home, I'll have people that will be around me and take care of me and all that.
Okay.
Yeah. But they have not thought that maybe most people have like 70s, in their 70s are already looking older than this 90-year-old people. So the healthcare system, I'll say, is even better here. You have people who are like 80 and whatever. I meet them there, they are climbing mountains and all that. And they are like, these people are in their home, but they've not thought that maybe I'm getting better healthcare here. And
Okay.
so they've heard that people go to their home. Most of those people are even hospice patients and all that.
Okay.
People who cannot be by themselves.
Okay.
So it's not like they neglect them. But then even if my mindset is that I want to go back home,
Okay.
right? And you decide that you don't live your life well here,
Okay.
you're going to break down even before you get to that stage
Okay.
where you feel that you want to go and enjoy your retirement
Okay.
back in your country, because you don't even take care of yourself. People don't even go to the hospital because here there's annual checkup.
And it's expensive. So
It's
maybe they would rather save money, go to Ghana and
and get that
go
checkup
to a
done.
hospital there, right?
You think they go back to Ghana to do their checkup?
Oh, there are people who do. Yes,
Okay.
yes. There are people who do.
That's fine. If
And
you feel you are, people go for health tourism.
yeah,
So
right. Yeah.
if they do that,
Yeah.
but for me, I'll say that you get the best healthcare here. So
Okay.
because there are resources they have here that you might not even get back in Ghana. And even some students come here with very weird conditions, but the way they will take care of, yeah, I always say that if you had this condition in Ghana, trust me, you die, because there's no way, because of the resources they have, there's no way they'll be able to see this maybe rare genetic condition you have and all that, and then start giving you those how do you call it, precise medication, because there's always some research going on, and so they are able to treat you based on your condition. Yeah, but fine, if you want to go back to Ghana for health checkup, maybe because of the cost, fine, at least you are still taking care of yourself.
Okay.
But some people don't take care of themselves.
Okay.
They don't. All they do is that they work 24/7, 2, 3 jobs, send all the money back home. They live here like paupers. They don't even take care of anything about themselves.
Okay.
So that when they go home, people will be like, yes, you are doing well, you are what. There are ways you can, even if I wanted to, for me, even if I wanted to build right in Ghana, and I decide I'm going to go back eventually, I would live well, even if I have to buy a house. And here the market appreciates faster. I'm buying in dollars, right? So I can buy a house. If eventually I want to go back to Ghana, I'll just sell my house. And then there are newly built houses that you can buy and live in. Because even giving money to somebody to build for you in your absence with all this headache, even when you are there, you have headaches, and then you are not there. People send monies and then they go and there's nothing to show. They don't even build for them. Once you are even able to build, you have someone living in for you. You have to pay for maintenance. You have to pay bills. Sometimes you even have people living in it free. They feel that they are taking care of your house for you, so they will not even take part of the bills. So you see that you are paying bills here, you are paying bills there, and it becomes a lot of headache. Sometimes it gives you a lot of stress here because you have your treasure back at home and they are always calling you, and this thing has to be done here, and this thing has to be done there, and this thing. And so it's a lot of stress. So for me personally, if I feel like I want to retire, I would rather buy when I'm close to the retirement and live my life like where I am. Make sure that I'm taking care of myself very well.
Okay, so I think that's a dicey topic we really need to delve into. So we'll take especially the building part, because that's that'll
That's
be
what
the
brings a lot of
biggest investment people would ever do in their lives, right? So but the other question is that people go like, oh, how can you come home and you don't have a place to lay your head? Like, for example, you visiting for 2 weeks every year, right? People hardly even do that, like go that frequently. But let's assume, for the sake of argument, that you visit every year, right, for 2 weeks, and you um, need a place to live. My question is,
where would you go and stay?
do you need to have a whole house that would only house you for 2 weeks in a year? Like, what kind of economics
So
is that?
if some people build and they have maybe their parents living in it, that's fine. So they have
Right.
somewhere to stay.
Yeah.
And there are people living, so it's serving a purpose. Like,
Right.
I've built for my parents, that's fine. So you have a spare room to live in.
Right.
But then people also go and build and there's nobody in it. Like, it's just purposely for just myself.
Right.
For me, I don't see the sense in that if you are not even close to moving back home. If you want a place, you can. Right now, there's Airbnb, there are hotels you can stay in for just 2 weeks, and that will make, for me, to make more economic sense than going to buy, leave it there, do maintenance every year, and you hardly go there. Maybe I go once every 2 weeks, once every 2 years, and I only stay for 2 weeks. For me, doesn't make sense. So if you have built originally and you have people that you probably will be paying for their rent anyway, living in it, then it makes sense. But if the house is just bare, you just leave it there and you only come in once a year or once every 2 years, then I feel it's a waste of money.
Good. Interesting. So the reasoning here is that if you have more than enough to have a home here and have a home in Ghana, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's okay. But don't put yourself in a situation where you are, you know very well that you are um struggling out here, and back home you're seen as someone who is doing so well because you're sending money down, blah blah blah, and all, right? When you bought an aircraft, say, thanks for joining, Sarah. When you bought an aircraft, right, and they're going through all these safety videos, there is a very interesting part. When they get to where they will tell you the oxygen mask will drop, they would actually mention to you that even if you have kids, make sure you fit your oxygen mask first and you're able to breathe. That's in the event of an issue. And you are able to breathe before you fit it on your kids or minors or anyone who wouldn't be able to do that themselves. It goes to say that um, you should be in a state where you feel okay before you can try to do the other excesses, right? Because think about it. If you put yourself through all this struggle and you don't make it to your retirement age, then what happens? You would have deprived yourself a decent life, and you would have deprived yourself of even enjoying whatever you were trying to
Your
put
the
up
fruit of your labor, yeah.
for retirement or whatever it is, right? So I get it that within a certain cultural setting, but yes, certain cultural setting. Oh, that sounds good for a rap line. You would want to appear to be doing well, right? But I think the idea is to do well and not to appear to be doing well, right? So try to at least have a decent, and no one is saying go live above your means. No, no, no. Far from that. Don't see it that way. But it it should be, you wouldn't want to leave um your home country, right, and end up in a place that is worse than you would even be living in your home country. It doesn't make sense. I mean, if you coming out here for a better life, right? So let that better be seen
and usually those are the people who complain that abroad is hard, like don't, because they are not living their life.
Okay.
You see, I won't say that absolutely it is those, but they are not living their life. When you come here, you don't upgrade to get to maybe a level that you want to.
Okay.
Maybe you came with SS certificate, right? There are so many schools here. There are so many even in a state, you can find like 100 universities plus community colleges. You don't upgrade since you came. Maybe you've been doing these menial jobs and well beyond your 50s, because it gets to a time those manual or whatever jobs you can't do it. Yeah, so it becomes strenuous, like on you. Then you start complaining. It's hard living here. But then let's say you came, you at least try to get an associate's degree or a degree, and you got into an office job or something, a managerial role, well beyond your like your 50s or something. You have risen to the level that you don't even have to pick up heavy stuff. It even becomes more enjoyable. You have a good pension that you know that by the time you are taking your pension, it can take care of you. You won't even say that even if you take that pension and you take it back to Ghana, that's a lot of money for you.
Oh, okay. Now, the other concern is that people don't necessarily have that luxury to just come in and like upgrade themselves, and I'll explain. Thanks for joining us, Mrs. Wilson. So, for example, if someone came in not through the regular routes, came in through one of the routes that Trump hates, um, it would take some time, right? Some years to actually regularize yourself, and then you can think about upgrading yourself, right? So sometimes it doesn't really come like on a silver platter. You have to really work through it. But the whole point is there should be a plan, right? So even if it would take you 5 years to get regularized and really try to start doing something meaningful, it's fine. It's good because at least you have a path you are treading, right? There is an end game, there is an end goal. It's not like you just there being thrown about, here and there. So I think that the whole goal or the whole idea is that there should be a plan, right? It you can, and there is the temptation. Later we'll talk about that. There is a temptation that you come in, you get a job that is paying you, like say you working in one of these big box stores or grocery stores, or and it looks like you getting, say what, $20 an hour or $19 or even $15 an hour, right? And immediately you convert that to Ghana cedis and you say, oh God, this is it. This is it. I've made it in life. There is also the temptation that because of that you'd be so relaxed and you don't think there is something better out there for you to do, and so on and so forth. And I'm not saying those jobs are bad. No, far from that. All I'm saying is that sometimes when you come in and you get introduced to a job and you start doing that conversion, immediately it shuts down all your ambition antennas, right? So that you feel like, okay, I can be doing this for the rest of my life. And you can, and you make good money as well. But again, like Prissy mentioned, there are some of the things that you can't do beyond a certain age, right? So it means that right from the get-go, you limiting yourself as to when you grow and you need to keep working. So on the work front, yes, be ambitious, look out for
And age shouldn't be a limitation. I think most of our people too, it's about age. They're like,
right.
I am too old to go back to school and all that. But I think when I was teaching my undergrads, I met one man that was like in his 40s.
Okay.
Who told me he used to be an accountant, but he's coming back to be a teacher. So he's come back to teacher training.
Yeah.
And he was sitting in my class. I was teaching him.
Yeah.
So for this place, age really isn't an issue. People start in their medical school after 35, 40.
Yeah.
So we shouldn't consider when people are coming in, like I've spoken to people in Ghana who wants to come here, and I'm like, apply to school. They're like, am I not too old to school? Early 30s. I'm like, you are too old. You're not too old. You can come in. And honestly, I always say that the school route is the best if you get that opportunity, because it integrates you easily into their society. You mix up with them in class, so you get to understand their culture and everything.
Right.
So you are able to easily flow. But then if you don't come and mix up in some way, sometimes like you feel isolated because you don't understand most of the things they do. Yeah. So if anytime you get the opportunity, even if you have regularized and you are even find something, like find a way to learn about them, and then it will help you to integrate.
Right. Yeah. So this is about just the introduction to this topic. We're going to really explore this into details, right? Because there are